Did you know that India's workforce is estimated at 56.9 crore? And of this, only 5.9 crore enjoy retirement benefits? Did you know that those below 60 at present are estimated at 10%? This proportion will double by 2050. Hello and welcome to another edition of Capital Calculus. I am your host Anil Padmanabhan. The recent rollout of the Unified Pension Scheme for government employees was preceded by a feisty political debate. The upside, though, is that this put the spotlight on the idea of retirement planning. However, the stark reality is that 90% of India's overwhelmingly young workforce does not enjoy retirement benefits. Keep in mind that in a little over a decade from now, this youth bulge will shrink as India begins to grow old. At the same time, it is very likely that the health burden will worsen, especially if the present trend of non-communicable diseases like cancer continue to grow unchecked. How then do India's young deal with the retirement dilemma? To unpack the idea of retirement planning, I spoke to Sumit Shukla. He is the MD and CEO of Axis Pension Fund. I began by asking Sumit what he thought of all this controversy over UPS putting the spotlight on the idea of retirement planning.
I will not say it is controversial, but it is only that because of this change, I think the retirement is back into media and people have started talking about it. It is a need which people ignore conveniently till the time they turn 45, 50. Then it hits them like a ton of bricks and they have to do something about it. But at least it is back in the drawing room discussion. People who are not talking about retirement have started talking about it. So I see it as a positive step. From a fiscal point of view, I think the government has done a brilliant job of creating the UPS as a scheme, and we can go into the details. But needless to say, retirement need is one of the biggest things that people should think about with the longevity risk that we have. And I think people should look at planning for their retirement pretty early in their life. So the move of the government is good for the government finances. At the same time, it is good for the government employees that such a scheme has come, and we will see almost all government employees will migrate to UPS because of the inherent positives that are there in the product.
So, Sumit, following up from what you just said, two things. One, private sector employees can also embrace UPS, and secondly, given the fact that we have a very young workforce, so is it also time for them to look ahead at retirement planning?
So, on your first question, it's not available for private citizens at this point of time, private corporate, UPS, but they can come into NPS. And I should highlight that in the budget this time, the tax benefit has been also extended to the new tax regime. So both the old tax regime and the new tax regime now have an NPS benefit. Perhaps the only benefit on taxation that is there in the new tax regime. So it is beneficial for people to look at it from a tax perspective in a private corporate. On your second question, people who are working have to start early as any retirement planning tool because of the compounding that they will get for the savings that they do in the early 20s or late 20s and early 30s will be huge. And when they look back, when they turn 50, they would have created a large corpus. So the more early you adopt and join NPS as a private corporate citizen or anyone will be beneficial to you. And I think tax benefit is one part of it. But needless to say, even if the tax benefit is not there, NPS as an investment vehicle for the lowest charges that it has for managing the funds is itself a brilliant tool for people to come and you just invest here and build a corpus. And as they retire, they will be able to plan their retirement much better. And whatever they want to do with that money, they can decide at that point of time. But it's an outstanding scheme, and more and more people will get hooked to it. It is Government of India's flagship product now from a retirement planning perspective, and I think people will get that benefit.
So, Sumit, there's another factor at play, the demographics. The longevity is going up in India. So it's now about 70.6 or 71 years. So, which means that there is a added concern in retirement planning, which is your health. So it makes sense to make medical cover part of your retirement planning too, right?
Yes, yes. But the inflation in medical is very very high, and that is most important. That people should not come into not looking at medical inflation in any way than what it is today. It's more than important that they should not ignore medical inflation when they are planning for their retirement. And what can hit us big time is medical emergencies as we retire. So we should make sure that we don't look at any of these things very lightly. And our retirement planning should include escalation in medical cost that is we are seeing in everyday basis, and it should just continue to be the focus area that we should not do anything which impacts the medical planning, our retirement planning from a medical perspective.
In fact, they say that most household budgets are just one disease away from fiscal disaster. So,
Yes.
I just want to ask you, in this backdrop, does it make sense to now, for the younger people, to look beyond EPF, UPS when they are planning ahead for their retirement plans?
Yeah, as I said, the earlier the better. They should look at retirement planning, whether it is EPF, UPS. EPF is something which is mandatory from a government of India, and they should completely make sure that they keep on seeing that as a mandatory product, which is getting deducted. But is it sufficient for them to take care of their challenges that they will have with retirement? It is clearly not sufficient. So they have to make sure that they save more than enough than what is only getting saved under EPF. So that is the reason government has created NPS as a vehicle. And I'm not only talking about medical emergency as one part of it. Everything, whether inflation is going to be the biggest hit that people post retirement that they see. And second is when if you keep on saving on your FDs and other product with the interest rates coming down, they will always suffer. That interest rates come down and they hit the people in a big way, and that impacts their health, fiscal health in a very very big way. We look at our parents and we see that every time they go to the bank, they are suffering because they see their FDs got renewed, and with the interest rate coming down, it impacts them in a very very big way. They should not leave inflation and the interest rate movement at the hands of anyone. So the corpus has to be large enough to take care of these risks, whether it is medical, inflation, or any other emergency that may come through, and plan sufficiently well. And if well done, all of us can do a good job in managing our retirement well. And demographically, I think the biggest problem we had a demographic dividend which has gone away, which is slipping away, and we have an aging population which is increasing, by every passing day. So you see more and more now old age homes or high-end retreats coming for retired people. Those are expensive ones. So if one has to live, if children have gone abroad and settled down abroad and one has to stay here, these are expensive things, including medical. So I think if you have to use today an attendant to take care of you, and if you're not able to move properly, that costs a lot of money. So it's earlier done is better, and sufficient corpus has to be generated. We have to work towards it as a country.
Yeah, you're so right. The demographic dividend is rapidly disappearing. In fact,
Yeah.
some say there's a risk that India will grow old before it grows rich. So,
Yes.
in this, again, given this context, Sumit, what is it that you would recommend? What kind of options do the young plan for beyond the obvious like EPF and UPS and NPS and so on?
So my overall overarching thing is, which I believe everybody has to look at it, is equity investment. In long term, nothing can beat equity returns. And we have data for the last 15 years, 20 years, 25 years. We have seen scams, we have seen multiple things, but equity returns over a larger period of time have delivered very good returns. And each one of the youngsters have to see in investing into equity, if they have a, because retirement time frame is 25, 30 years, equity, they have to be in equity. And as they grow, as they are younger, they can take a little bit of a risk to invest in new age companies and try to do that. But as they grow old, they have to get into equity of stable companies, which are there for the last 50 years, 40 years, big names, and invest and keep on building their base on equity investment. Equity only takes care of inflation in the best possible way than any other product. So one has to get into equity. If you don't like being in equity, mutual fund is a very good vehicle to use. And even if I look at NPS or UPS, what we do is we do equity investment for you. You choose if you want to put 50%, 75%, and we do equity investment on your behalf. And we are experts in doing that investment. So if you don't have the time, if you don't have anything, just put the money here. We will manage it for you.
So, Sumit, I wanted to draw your attention to another change in rather dynamics in the job market. One, of course, jobs are not easy to come by. The whole skill sets demand is growing. But then at the same time, you have these younger people who are now investing in skilling, so joining the workforce later. Secondly, tenure jobs are out of the window. Even in the private sector, it's talking about 3-year contracts which are renewed or not renewed. And of course, finally, the retirement age, which was traditionally 58, seems to have gone out of the window as longevity comes in. And you have this domain expertise of these older generation, people like me. And they are continuing, post 58, working in gigs or consulting. So, how does all this impact retirement planning?
So I think what you said is right. As first my take on finding a job and getting into a job. I think nothing trains a person better than on the job. You can do whatever skilling you want to do by doing courses or whatever, but get your hands dirty very early in your career and understand how the businesses work, what are the quirks of that business, and understand them well and learn it on the ground the hard way. All of us have gone out in the markets and sold, and then that wisdom has helped us through our careers. So I think one should get on with the job as quickly as possible. And once you do that, you keep it in the mind, always have a long-term plan and a short-term plan. What are you going to do on the long term from a perspective of you want to become a domain expertise. Very early in your career, you will see God will push you towards, businesses and markets or the jobs that, you like. And if you start liking so if you have joined, for an example perspective, you joined banking, and you like too much to do compliances or understand. So do the courses around compliances, push your career towards that, and become a domain expertise in that particular area. But overarching thing is you have to be a generalist. You have to know everything, learn multiple things, try to become an expert in one, and life will be very, very fair to you. Uh, and most important is be open to challenges, being open to taking, as I alluded to the last question, be open to taking risks of changing location, changing, companies from a perspective with better learning. Don't look at earning too early in your career. Earning will come. So money, you see, I have a theory. What money that you make between 20 and 30 becomes 10 times between 30 and 40. And then it becomes 10 times between 40 and 50. And 50 to 60, it even becomes 20 times. So as you gray, you will get more and more people to pay you well. And you have to bide that time. Nothing comes early in. And if you think you can change jobs and get your compensation up, you will not be able to do it.
So, Sumit, the given the intersection of fintech and artificial intelligence, will it become easier for say firms like you to plan customize products, like say for women or for young people, because you're able to now target niche rather than have one size fits all?
I agree. It is going to be very effective. I think it is going to be very, very effective. These new age technologies or whatever changes are coming, a lot of data. See, investment, a lot of data gets generated on a daily basis. People are buying, selling. What is the quantity? I think a lot of that can now go back with the use of AI, and a lot of these, customized products or products which can analyze data for a long period of time, can be put into place, and that can be very, very beneficial to the customers. I see that playing out quite well. The bigger problem that I see today is, the problem of push and pull. What happens today is in the inertia in people is so high. Even if a greatest of product is pushed to them, the first reaction is there may be something wrong. There is something not right. The inertia of people to buy product, I see, is a bigger problem than anything else. There are very good products out in the market. AI will come up with more products, but please take some action. If you have decided on the weekend that you will open an NPS account, do that on the weekend. Don't say next weekend karenge, uske next weekend karenge, and it never happens. And 1 year passes, 2 year passes, then somebody says uska return bahut acha tha, but you have not taken action, and your money is there in the saving account. You have not done anything about it because you are hoping that someday market will crash and you will come back and say, oh, dekho maine paisa invest nahi kiya, main bach gaya. So just act. I think what people miss out today is they don't act. And money, if you put the money to work, it will give you more money. If it keeps on lying in your saving account, current account, or whatever FD, it is not going to generate enough for you. So whether an AI or any algorithm throwing up a product or suggesting you something on a website, subscribe to it, invest to it, see the risk, and let it play out in the due course of time. Give that 3 years, 5 years, and I'm assuring you it will be beneficial to you. But take some action.
Finally, Sumit, we've just discussed the immense demand potential for retirement planning. So, if we flip it to the supply side, are you looking at a boom for the retirement planning industry?
Absolutely. I think we are in the best phase currently, and government has taken some time to come around. But with this UPS change, there are two big changes which have happened. One is UPS, which has come through, and the second is NPS Vatsalya, the new program for minors, which the government has launched. So they are taking it to another level. Today, there is no product available in India where if you want to invest for your grandchild or child, less than 18, you cannot do any investment in a mutual fund or anywhere. You will have to make sure he becomes an adult. He has a PAN card to do it. We are launching on 18th of September NPS Vatsalya, where any of your grandchildren, you can open an account in one click of a button in 5 minutes, and you can start saving for them. Start small. If a grandchild is 5 years old, put 1,000 rupees per month, and you will see by the time he turns 20, he'll have a huge corpus which he can then use for his education or anything. So that is another innovation that the government has pushed, and UPS. So I think this industry, and internationally, retirement and pension industry is very, very big. It is bigger than the mutual fund industry and other industry, and that's the way India is also going to play out. Japan, the demographic dividend shifted. People are older, so that the economy on the senior citizen side. Somebody was sharing some data with me that are almost 90 or 88% of total investments in any investment product in Japan is above 60 years of age. That is the kind of people wealth that is consumed. I think recently the RBI governor also threw some data which said that in India, I think 38% of the total FDs or investments in a bank is 60 age and above. So that is the kind of market we have. That kind of wealth is getting created at 60 plus. So I see retirement booming in a big way.
When I was young, everybody around me was old. Now that I am old, everybody around me is young. Interpreting this, it means that the youth of today is going to grow old together, which means there is going to be a retirement burden that is going to emerge as India ages. Yes, the opportunities too will grow, especially as India transitions to a middle income economy with an average per capita income of $6,000. At present, it's about $2,700. Given this circumstance, it's imperative that India's youth starts investing in retirement planning. As the old phrase goes, a penny saved is a penny earned, especially when you're planning for the winter of your life. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to StratNews Global on YouTube. Hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any updates. And please do share your thoughts, ideas and suggestions with us. I'm available on Twitter at Capital Calculus. I'll be back next week with another episode. Till then, stay safe.